Hi there. Good evening to you all. Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat. I think this is the sixth one, brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. And here I am every week in conversation with unknown members of the Order, listening to their fascinating stories. And this evening we go to Italy, and let me introduce my guest this evening is Markus Manzer. Markus, benvenuto. So you're so welcome this evening.
Grazie, Eimear. Benvenuto. Ciao a tutti. Hello to everybody.
Okay, so Markus, we first met in Glastonbury, I don't know how many years ago, but I remember seeing you first going up the tour for the ceremony with...
I remember it very well. I think it must be like 6 or 7 years ago, or 8, something like this.
Something like that, about 8, I think. And then we got to know each other by going to the OBOD retreats. And
Yes.
You've been to Ireland. You were at the Irish one in Ireland. So, just what brings you to, or what brought you to Druidry?
Well, it's quite an interesting story. For many years, I was friend of a woman who was like doing therapies and in self-finding therapies, let's say, you know? Especially after my separation from my wife. I intensified this meetings with her, and I got really, really friendly with her. She became something like a second mother for me. And it is as she got to know me better, it was like that she understood my deep feelings for nature, for also the magic of nature. And she one day came to me and said, look what they sent to me. It is from OBOD, the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. And I thought straight away that it's something for you. And I looked at it, and it was very interesting, and asked for the first introduction for the Bardic course. And it was, for me, incredible. I thought, it is not possible that there is like an association or an organization which is exactly doing that what I was looking for, or what I was feeling in the way. No, my connection with the world was expressed so well in that what I was reading, that I was thinking, no, she's exactly right. No? And that is how I came to OBOD.
And it's interesting because I'm just looking, I forgot to welcome all the people. We've got Keith from the US, Meredith from Australia. We have Eva, or maybe it's Ava from Germany, the North Sea coast. David from Canada, Ontario, Portugal. Elaine Robinson, whom you met at an OBOD retreat, welcomed you. Owen, who at Luxembourg. And Pat has a special message for you. Hello, gorgeous. And
hello, Pat.
So, I'm sure people will know from your accent that you're not an Italian. So I'd be interested in you sharing how it was you moved from Germany to Italy. Yes,
I was connected first to much more to the German OBOD in the beginning when I started. I participated in events. I did also the German course, of course, And I had German tutors, and was in not even thinking about that in Italy could be a community of OBOD, of Druids. And at a certain point, I was sending a letter to Stephanie and in the office and saying, look, I am living here in Italy and I'm always traveling to Germany to be connected in some way with the other Druids of the OBOD. And could you tell me if there are any OBODs in Italy? And she said, yeah, she can't give me their addresses, but she can ask them if they want to contact me. So I did a letter, I wrote a letter, what she then sent to all the OBODs in Italy. And I got some responses, and in this way I connected to the Italian OBOD.
Okay, so what brought you to Italy?
That was, I was searching for a place to live. And that was already in university, happening. And in university, I was also having a group of people around me, which was searching for an alternative life, for living in the countryside, living from your products, and with them together, I was searching for a place. But then I understood after a while that it wasn't really the real interest. It was a dream of some people, but I was one of the very few which really wanted to go for it and to realize what I wanted to do in life. So I've got less and less people, and in the end it was only one left, who I was traveling then with to different places in Europe, also in Germany, and to see at places, at projects, and so on. But we didn't find anything. There was nothing really saying to me, yes, that's the place there I want to go. So I stopped searching, I got married, and we had already a baby, or was 3 years old, a young boy. And then we did our honeymoon, traveling to Italy. And and there we went to a little farm holiday place, and we were talking to the owner of the place, and he was saying, yeah, but if you look for something like this, why don't you walk 7 kilometers from here? There's a project of an eco-village. Maybe it's interesting for you. So I put my son on my back, on my shoulders, and Martina, my ex-wife, we were walking, started at in the 8 in the morning to go to this village, and through the brambles and through the woods, and because there were no real roads or passes, everything stopped and we got lost, and it was really, really difficult. It was only 7 kilometers, but we took out the whole day.
It's up as well.
And we arrived at 5 o'clock in the evening, in the afternoon. But from the top of the hills, I saw the village down there. And I straight away knew that was where I was looking for. And that was taking my heart, and it was, I didn't see details. I saw the houses in the woods and the landscape around, but I was sure that was the place. And so we walked down and met some people and stayed the night. And a month later, we did the contracts to buy a ruin here.
It's been fascinating because I've been to your place. It's been fascinating to see where you live now and your beautiful house. I mean, it's a cottage, but what strikes me, and I'd like you've struck me when I visited in your place. You're one of those people who really, really connects with their landscape. You've always fascinated me. You know every plant, every tree, every bird call. You know, you said that's the nightingale. This is the male calling to the female. This is what these birds are doing. This is what those other birds are doing. And you even told me that birds sing with different dialects. So you're one person for me is so connected with his own landscape. It's not your landscape of birth, but it's now your landscape. And I just love if you could speak a little bit about that. What is it?
Yes, I think it goes back also to my childhood in the end. When I was a little boy, 7, 8 years old, I was going for long walks and alone always, and in the woods mainly. And I was always very interested in all the different species, plants and animals, and I was watching the sky and the weather, how it influenced the landscape. I was like soaking everything into me, what I was observing. And I was so curious also to discover the names of all the different, especially the birds. And I wasn't giving up until I could see the bird which was singing somewhere in the trees to identify what it was. And that I did for some years completely alone. So always with my books and binoculars and but then after a while I met people also on my walks or in school who were also interested in the same things, and I participated in a group to protect nature. It was a German group protecting nature, and there were lots of people which were like specialists, let's say, also for different parts of nature. And I was asking them all the questions I had, and there was especially one who was an ornithologist. He took me nearly every Sunday on walks and bird ringing. I did a lot with him. We catched birds with nets and then put rings on them to know better where they go, what they do, and about their behavior. And I was helping him there a lot. And then when I got older, I went alone also on longer trips to islands in the North Sea to watch birds and to help the nature stations. It was always, for me, very, very big, deep interest what I had. And it became more and more like nature home for me. No, it was not a home like a house. It is when I'm going into the forest, I know what there is around me. Which bird is doing this sound, or which sound is coming from the tree or from the earth, or the different seasons, the different noises, and I know exactly what. Sometimes there is a noise which I don't know, but then I'm again searching for the reason. I want to know what it is, and so yeah, it's a little bit like this. And then I studied biology. It was a little bit the consequence. I wanted to work also in this field, which I'm doing here also, but not really like a biologist now.
More of a hobby. It struck me when you said when you were a little boy that you soaked up your landscape. And that is, I know you do that, because I think that there's very little you don't know about your landscape. Anytime I've asked you, you seem to know it. So you've soaked everything up, and then it flows out of you as well. There's a magic there. And I see Ellie Tallis has said, Markus is one of the most grounded and loving of people I've had the privilege to have met. And she is so right. And it's just fascinating how in tune you are with your landscape. There's one thing, I remember seeing a photograph you showed me of your landscape in the 1920s when it was farmland. And then people migrated through whatever reasons into the cities, and then nature took over. Just describe what it's like now.
When I arrived here, all the fields and all the fields were abandoned, and like you couldn't really see them anymore. They became forest in the end. You know?
Yeah.
But then because I bought land, at that point I think it was 12 hectares of land, and I was curious what was on the land. And I could see all the different traces or the different things from people which worked the land before. They were building dry stone walls. They had holes in the earth where they were keeping the chestnuts for the winter. They made ditches to lead water in certain areas and lead it away from others. And I found the old holes from the vines. Sometimes there was a vine still on it and growing in the trees now. And I could see all the different items from the activities, the agricultural activities of the people which lived in the village before. And that was really making me, honor them, because they didn't have all the possibilities, machines and tools and whatever. They did everything by hand or by animal, with the help of animals. And that did so great work, you know, building terraces into the hills, you know, where I was like thinking it wasn't, how could they have done that? You know, it's really, and so also because of this, it was for me important to clean the land a little bit, to rediscover the terraces, rebuild the walls, and it was for me, to not let everything go from that what they have done once in the last hundreds of years. And now it changed a little bit because also other people came and they cleaned land, and we all have not at all like it was before, but it's much opener, more open than it was when I arrived. There, sometimes not even the houses you could see, they were overgrown by ivy and brambles and everything. Yeah.
And yet
and this was a lot of handwork. It was also very new for me because before I never did anything with my hand really. I had a little bit helping my mom in the garden, in the vegetable garden, dig the earth and planting maybe also a tree in the fruit yard. But really on the land every day, that was completely new for me. and I had to make my mistakes and I had to learn a lot. But I was confident, and I had a lot of will to do it, and I had the opinion, if you want to do something, you can do, and you can learn everything. And so the same I did also with my house. Nearly everything, every little thing in the house I did by myself. From building the walls, rebuilding parts of the walls, to making the plaster, put the plaster, to put the electric lines and the pipes for the water, and some woodwork. And also there, in the beginning, you make mistakes and get it right. But then, doing it a second time, you learn. And if you really want to, then I think it's possible to do it. And now I'm really feeling that it is really my house. Also, even if it has been built by somebody else, in the beginning, really hundreds of years ago. But I touched every centimeter of the house, and more than one time, like working it, and I'm still doing it again now, renovating it after 20 years. And and there I used also only ecological material, organic. All the plaster, for example, is clay with straw in it, and then there's lime color on it, and there's no cement here in the house. Then it's wood and terracotta tiles. I tried to avoid all the chemical and industrial products. And one idea was also to use things which you can reuse once you break down the house again. To reuse material, because this is what I learned also here a lot, that people over the centuries, they reused always the material from other houses, from churches, from walls, from monuments, and they put it together to a new house, to a new building. And this I was having in my mind also when I was rebuilding the house.
That's just because often I ask, or I usually ask, is how do you honor the ancestors? And this is exactly what you're doing. Somebody's asking, where are you? So just say where you are living, just before I come on to the next.
I live in Tuscany, Italy, and this is the province of Arezzo, and the village is called Upaki.
And it just struck me, when you initially looked at the landscape and how you wonder, how do these people do all of this? And I mean, driving through Italy, when you see villages on top of mountains and houses built into rock, it always fascinates me, because again, these were done by hand, or very basic tools, and it almost seems like an impossible job. And then you've done the same, starting off with no skills, and then you've decided, yes, this is what you want to do, and this is how you want to live. And you've actually been able to, walk your path, be it you work and live in keeping with your values. I think many of us want to live a green way, but for various reasons, maybe where we live stops us from doing that. And you've been one of these fortunate people who's actually able to use green materials in your house, do it yourself. And you can feel it, because I've been in your house. I've seen the magic in your house. How you've been able to do that, and how wonderful that is that you're able to do this. I'm wowed by it. Absolutely. Jane Myad says, Markus, I have renovating envy. I haven't been quite so diligent in using sustainable products throughout. I think that could be a real challenge. And you've been very lucky that you've been able to do that. I think I can imagine lots of people envying you. And
yes, it's hard work. Let's say it's occupying. Hard work is maybe a bit negative. I wouldn't put it in a negative way, but it's filling up your time completely, no? Because in some way you have to make also some money, working outside, getting some money coming in, and then come home and do after work or in the free time things at the house. Then I'm heating everything with wood and have to go into the woods and making firewood. And then I have now 2 ovens, and normally when it's still not cold here now, but if it's really cold, then both of the ovens are going and making my warm water with the oven or with solar panels. And so if I'm not doing anything, I have a cold house, no warm water. And,
yes.
so it's filling up your time. I can understand also people saying, I want to fill up my time with different things. No? And so I want an automatic heating system, and somebody is bringing me the wood, and somebody is doing this for me, and somebody is doing that for me. But for me, it was always the thing. On one side, that I want to experience this, making it myself, doing it myself. And on the other hand, I was also thinking, yeah, but if I need all these other people working for me, then I have to pay them, and then I have to work even more outside for more money, and can't stay enough time here really with me in my place. And so there we need to find compromises wherever we are with our capacities, and also wants to what is important for us in life. No, I can't sit there and watch films and doing computer work and whatever all the time. That wouldn't be filling me. Wouldn't I need to feel the sense of what I do? No, that it has a purpose, or it makes me happy to also afterwards. That now I have the woodshed full of wood, which is coming from my woods, and the trees are were cut in a good way, and that the forest can still grow. And when I buy the wood, I don't know where it is coming from, how they treated the woods when they were cutting it, and all of this. I would have always in my mind a little bit of maybe it is not so good, no? And so all these things are going around in my head.
There's a question from Amanda Wolf-Hara. Do you worry about, as you age and the body getting tired or experiencing injury, illness, and not being able to keep up with the duties of your home?
Yeah, this is an interesting question, which I also ask myself how it will work when I'm getting older, and I'm already getting older, but I still can do everything. But now at the moment, I don't want to rely on other people. I think my idea is to reduce more and more as I'm getting older. My needs, the space which I need to make warm, or my needs in general, so that I have to do less. And I have a younger partner also, which is helping me a lot. About 10 years younger than me, so we will see. I mean, I can imagine that I can do most of the things in a maybe slower way or different way also when I'm 80. And I hope if I'm not getting ill or
Okay. And there's also something else about your landscape, because you talk about the land that you've cleared, and you've restored the terraces, and I know you have an olive plantation and you have wonderful grapes. But then there's the woods near you that is populated with wolves and deer, and I've heard the wolves chasing deer. I've seen their footprints, and then I've met the Shinyali, what do you call them?
the wild
pig.
boar.
The wild boar. Yes. And just as I've come outside my bedroom door, I've encountered a mother with little baby wild boar. And that is fascinating that you have that tamed bit. I mean, you're up in the mountains and you're surrounded by forest, and you have the little cleared area and then the few other cottages around you. And then you've wilderness, like you have wild boar, which are dangerous animals if encountered in the wrong way. And you have wolves. And it's just mind-blowing, because I've gone up walking in the trees and seen the footprints and being so excited. I haven't met the wolves yet, but it is just amazing that you have that juxtaposition of you can grow some food for yourself or a crop, and at the same time you're just next door to the wilderness. Now, I know the wolves have eaten your goats, so there's a price to be paid for that.
It was a lesson to learn also. I had goats for a long time, but the wolves arrived here maybe in a decent number only 6 or 7 years ago. Before, they were quite far away in the mountains, on the top of the mountains, and they spread some years ago and came in my area here. And that was really the end of my story with the goats, because how I want to keep goats, I love them because they're so nice animals, intelligent, and on the same time connected to you and free. They do what they want, a little bit like cats also. They do what they want, but they are very connected to you. But I wanted to give them as much freedom and space as I could, and I knew exactly what they needed. They're looking for leaves. They don't eat grass really. They're not grass eaters. They want to eat leaves from bushes and trees, and so I made a really, really big fence, 2.5 hectares, and which was all overgrown. Also, this was terraces, old terraces, once cultivated, and I had them there in this place. In the evening, I brought them to the stable, and the daytime they were on this big field. And so I thought maybe they could be also protected against the wolf, but it wasn't. They came the daytime, and it was evening, but still normal light, and it was 13 goats dead, and one survived because she escaped from the fence. And I understood that I can't fight again. I don't want to, and I can't fight against the wolves. And they will always do it again. I like wolves also. I'm not against wolves at all. So, yeah, it was very, very sad, but I had to give up with the goats. And
it's an interesting thing.
I can't keep them here in this condition.
That sometimes within nature, that tension between one animal and another. I remember for a number of years we had sparrowhawks nesting in our tower in the garden, and it used to always excite myself and Howard. My God, it's just lovely to have sparrowhawks just on our property. And there was one summer we also had robins near us, and I was excited about the robins. And then one morning I saw these baby robins flying outside, confused. And then I realized that their parents had both been killed by the sparrowhawks. And then these baby robins died. By the time I recognized and realized what had happened, they were all dead. And I was so sad. And I thought, but I was so excited about having the sparrowhawks. But sparrowhawks feed on smaller birds. And it's that often that tension between within the wonders of nature. You want all of it, and you want it all nice, tidy, and clean. So you want to have your goats, and you also want to have the wolves, and it doesn't work that way. And you have to surrender to nature in many, many ways.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand, or I can understand that the wolves are going for the easier prey. That the goats are not like deer, which they're still domestic and less careful or less able to escape. They're not used to the dangers in nature, also because the wolves were not there before, but also in general because they're domestic animals. And so I wasn't really angry with the wolves. I could understand that what happened was there was a family of wolves coming, going into the fence, jumping into the fence, seeing this group of goats, and was easy prey. And then they got also out of control, possibly because these goats, they could escape only up to a certain point to the fence border. They were running after them and they stopped at the fence border and then they were blocked. And so they probably got out of control and killed them all. That is my explanation, because they were all in one corner of the fence all together. One was eaten completely or nearly completely in one half, and the others were only dead.
Such a pity. So you are living in a very special place. And is there any of the sacred sites that are known that is special to you?
Yes, I mean, I feel a lot the energies here in the area that they are different from what I know from home, let's say when I was young in Germany. I don't know if it is because I live even more in contact with it all, or if there are really stronger here because it's very ancient settlement here, an ancient place. It goes back from, also what they know is about 500 after Christ. So,
Okay.
but it's very possible that it was already a long time before settled here, and from different people, folks, groups, which had their houses here, and they had their sacred sites here, their temples, and their places where they were doing their rites. And with the time in the forest, I found also places where I could see evidence and feel energies different. And one place is here, I don't know if I showed it to you also when you came, that is the little church which we have. It's a chapel, which is from before 1000, built before 1000, which is one of the first churches here in the area, really. And already this is a reason to think, why did they build a church there so early, when there was like much more important places somewhere else? No? So I was searching a little bit, digging also around in this area, and I found, for example, one round place, all made out of stone, covered with earth now. A mound of stones, all of this behind the church. A mound of stone which were in part red, they were getting red, what is normally happened with this stone when they are in fireplaces or in contact with heat, and then they're getting on one side red, the same stone what we have here. And so I was imagining that there was a tower there, because this mound of stones was so in a small place, so big stones, and such a big mound of stones, that I was imagining a tower, for example, there. No? And,
Wow.
yes, there were some places in the forest where I could think, yeah, people did certain things here. Parts of that I knew from old people telling me. For example, there was a spring where they brought the newborn babies to before to wash them, because they had no running water here in the houses. No? So, and they didn't want to use water from buckets, standing water, because they were believing that it has to be fresh running water to clean the newborn baby. And so they brought it always to the same spring to wash it. No? And I could really imagine and feel that this place is special, and they didn't go only by accident to this spring to wash the baby. That was because it has a special energy. And so there are different places which I like, which I feel that they have a lot of energy. I think it is possible for everybody to feel. Once you get leaded to be a little bit open to it, to have somebody who is helping you to feel and to see and to touch, to open yourself to the energy. And I had the experience that there were people I showed it, some of these places, they were all really touched by the speciality.
I think so. And then I think sometimes places are like people. Some places resonate more than with others. And of the place, is there any place you haven't visited that you would like to visit in the world, if ever we can travel again, or if ever it's appropriate to travel?
Yes, I like traveling, and this is it's a little bit of also conflict sometimes with my beliefs. To travel is, of course, in some way damaging nature, consuming energy, and I get always more and more in my mind that it is not only the direct damage we do with traveling, it's also the indirect in the cost it has in money, because the money it costs to travel, we need to earn. And
yes,
by earning, we need to destroy, because it is always about destroying in the end. No? When we do something, when we start walking, we destroy already. No? But when we earn money, and when we want to earn quite some money, we have maybe to destroy more. No? And all of this is going into the cost of traveling for me, but I like it a lot. I try to avoid whatever I can, and I travel also to traveled in the past. Now at the moment we can't so much to places which I got interested in here in the area and a little bit more far away. And so my last travel was to an island in the Etruscan Sea, which is called Elba. It's a big island, and also there were very, very special places. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have do you have a daily practice, a personal daily practice as a Druid?
Yes, there's certain things. One of the most important things for me is to, when I wake up, I imagine my inner growth, or my growth, which became my personal growth. No?
Yes.
And I or sit there or stand there and feel the energy of the growth. That is what I'm doing every morning, every morning. And I think it is nice to not start with worrying about whatever going on that day, where we have to think about this and then that and organize this and this. But to stay there for 2 or 3 minutes and be in a place where we feel safe and where we feel protected and feel the energy of ourselves. And that is most important thing which I'm doing in my regular daily life.
Mm-hmm. What would you say? Okay, so there's 2 questions, but they're kind of, I don't know, which grade do you prefer that you've done, or which was the most difficult? And there's a second question, and maybe I shouldn't ask it right now, but I'm going to. Which of the Druid teachings changed your life? So I don't know, they may come out in the one answer. Or maybe I've confused you completely. Okay, let's start that. Which grade is the most difficult or the most challenging for you?
I think it was the OBOD, which was not difficult, but challenging a lot, because I had the impression also that I had so many possibilities, and in some way I have to choose something, and there I got several times I got lost, because I like this and I like this and I like this, and was too much, which I would like to do and which I tried to do, and then I had to narrow it a lot and specialize in certain things, and that wasn't so easy, because maybe also because I'm so used to do so many different things. But to go deeper in one or two, I learned there is a good lesson. It's a very good lesson.
Indeed. So not spreading yourself too thinly.
What was
Go
the
on.
second question?
The second one, which of the teachings so far has changed your life? What is the one that resonates most with you in terms of what you've learned so far within Druidry?
I think one of the one very important thing is about magic. That I understood what magic is. And that if we put intention into something, and that means we are changing it. This is what I learned. We think about a certain thing.
Okay.
How it is, how it could be, how we want it. And if we channelize this in a real want, in a real vision, or in something which has a direction, then we do magic. We are changing it. We are changing. And that was for me like going, wow. Now that is really, because I'm not a so esoteric type, no? I don't really connect to too much of things around and all these different items, and we need altars and all of that. I don't really connect to this too much. And so I was against magic, also a bit skeptic and not understanding very much how it works. And that was very profound understanding.
So are you more of a magician than you are a mystic? Just Ellie says, this is a really wonderful way to explain magic and makes magic so tangible in daily life. I think that's so true, Ellie. Thank you for that. Would you say you're more of a magician than a mystic, or are you a bit of both?
Yes, I'm more a magician. I think I'm a magician and a little bit of a king, I would say.
A magician and a little bit of?
A little bit of a king, between king and magician. No?
Oh, king and magician. I heard thieves. Sorry, that is my hearing. A king and a magician. So what's the king?
I like to create my reign, let's say, my area. I like to do that. I'm putting a lot of energy into it. And I like to decorate it. I like to make it special. And I don't plant a tree only like this because it is the best place. No, it has to be like harmonic with the surrounding. And it has to feel right for me, for myself. Then I can say, okay, good, this is the right place. Not only because there's good earth, space enough, water like this, and light, and no, it has to have something else. And this is, for me, important in the house, also outside to... and sometimes in the forest, when I do the firewood, then there's a special tree which I should by law cut down because it is now you have to leave every 8 meters a tree, no? And it is standing in the middle of the 8 meters, and so by law you have to cut it down, and I don't. I'm a rebel also in this, no? So. Yeah, I think it's a little bit between magician and king, something like that.
I like that.
If we want to play in that area, because I find this very interesting. Because we're always having things which we are good in, and then we have things where we're not good in, and that is for me the warrior, not always what is on the other side, and that is always a person also where I'm attracted to, because I'm missing it in me. So it is a warrior is helping me. I have lots of warrior friends, no, which are warriors,
lots
and
of
I like.
friends?
Wow, sorry,
I missed the word. You have lots of something friends?
warrior friends.
Ah, warriors. Okay, yes.
Which are warriors in their like essence, no. And they are helping me to develop a little bit that what I miss. No? So,
And I think that they say also that we recognize in others qualities that we haven't yet owned in ourselves, but we are drawn to those.
yeah.
And I'm wondering, there must be some part of you, a warrior, that is asleep.
Yes, exactly. That is what I'm missing in myself, which is not so developed, let's say.
Yes. Just to get back to, I really struck with being the magician and the king, and how you, if you're going to plant a tree, and it's not just this is the right species in the right type of soil, but there's what I think it's like you're tuning into the resonance of the place, and that's certainly so magical to be able to, not just at a physical, biological level, but energy is the wrong word, but it's the only word I can say. But there's that resonance between you, the space, and the tree or the plant that can't be explained, but it can be felt and it can be known.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that is also why the land where I'm working on is often looking a bit strange. No, there's an apple tree because there was coming a wild apple tree out of a seed, which I grafted then a nice apple on. And next door, there's an olive because there was already an olive before from the ancient times. And another 5 meters, I planted a quince tree because I thought, this is a small tree which is keeping the space and doesn't need water, is feeling good. It looks nice with the silvery leaves in the back from the olive. And so it's all like this a little bit. It is giving something to me, harvesting, giving food, and but it is also not only on the production directed. It's giving also something, food for your eyes and food for your heart, and this is, I think, maybe important in the same way. No?
That's such a holistic way of looking at it. Absolutely. What would you say? Okay, has there been a time in your life when Druidry supported you?
I think Druidry is that what I understand. Well, my Druidry is what I live.
Okay.
And I feel I live in the rhythm of the nature. And already before I came to OBOD, I knew there is now a time to do this. Then there is another time to do that, and that was influenced by the rhythm of nature, without me knowing exactly that it was all working like this. That I understood much later, but now I realize, I think with the help of OBOD and the druid, other druids, to understand what I'm feeling already, that I get it more clear. I think this was the main thing, that I can sit down in it. I don't know if you understand. I feel that I'm the conscious one now of how I live. Before I was living and not thinking about it at all.
I think for me, I think it's like it articulates for you what it is you're experiencing. Yeah. And I think the teachings within the order provide a framework, and you go, because I know for me I was learning lots of new things, and then there was stuff that I knew from way back, but I had never articulated it. So when you read one of the Gwers or maybe one of the readings, and you say, I know this, but you know, it's the first time you're reading it, but you know it from some time back. Yeah, and that's been part of that magic of Druid, that it provides that articulation for you. And then when you're meeting like-minded souls, now there's so much diversity in OBOD, and we don't know two people think the same, but there's that facility that when you speak, and I'm sure there are people there listening who can recognize and say, I know exactly what he's talking about, but I hadn't thought about it that way, or I hadn't articulated it in that way, or I see it slightly different, but I understand it. So you're not alone.
Yeah, that is one important thing, that I feel also that I belong to a group, that I can ask people if I don't understand something. I can share with others my experiences, and yes, it's really like you say. It gave the frame and the structure and the explanation of that what is already there. No?
Yes. So, what would you say has been your greatest achievement
in my life?
Yeah, somebody says you have a wonderful connection with your surroundings on a quantum field level, resonating at times with nature. Lovely. That is a wonderful achievement. But is there anything else that you would say has, or something you're most proud of that you've done?
Well, I thought the opposite. I didn't understand the word achievement. No.
Yeah, I'm going to come to the other, but we start with the positive.
Yeah, I'm really, I think it is the whole. It is the whole of it. The trust in life is coming out, as my trust in life and my trust in myself is coming out of what I'm living, and what I know that I never starve hunger. I can do until my fingers work. I can do things to make me live. Let's say, to stay alive, and that was important also now. For example, in Corona lockdown in spring, was coming a lot this safeness feeling and the sureness that even if everything breaks down, I can grow my things, I can grow my vegetables, I can grow my fruit and get my wood from the forest, I can have animals when I need meat, go hunting if I don't want to keep animals. There is a big safeness in this, and I think this is the thing where I would say I'm proud of the most. That I have these capacities or this understanding of how to do certain things.
I think it struck me with COVID, and I mean, as a psychologist, I know that for any of our well-being is to have a sense of agency, that there is something we can do right now. And you described that, perfectly, about being able to take care of yourself if lots of other things break down. And I think having that sense and trust that you can do it, or trust that you can get through it, I think is a very, very important thing for us at this time. I mean, not everybody can go and hunt. I try hunting, but I'm really bad at aiming. So maybe I'd have to set traps.
Yeah, maybe you have a friend or hunting for you then, or whatever. But I think it is, it is good, and it helps also other people. It was helping my partner, for example, a lot, that I could always bring him down from his fearness, so that everything breaks together, then he would be lost. That was in the essence of it all, when the structures and the economy and everything is not there anymore, then he will be lost and maybe dead or whatever. There's this fears going in his head, and I was bringing him always down back to the earth and saying, look, we can do this, we can do that, I can do this, you can do that, and we will survive and maybe be happy also, no? Yeah. And this is wonderful.
Someone says here, Brenda Jingle Gardner, sustainability comes easy to him, being comfortable in his own surroundings, respectful of his knowledge and understanding, to be grounded within and without. How beautiful. And I think, you described that so beautifully. I'm sure many people will envy you that ability to do, but not everybody, if you're living in a city, you can't grow vegetables, but there's a lot you can do, and to harness the resources within Druidry to help us manage all of this.
Yeah, it is. I think it is very connected to one to the other, and is going all about connections in Druidry, in nature, in our lives. And if you understand some of the connections, then you feel also that it is possible to hook on this, to follow these connections, to see what is behind things. And I think that is a wonderful experience to, I did that once with a group of people here, to do a survival in the forest. And it was partly Druids and partly people interested in Druidry. And we stayed first time 3 days in my chestnut forest, and with little items, with some help, one knife, and what else do we had? No, we had the first time we had only one knife. No, the second time we didn't have any knife. We had only a knife.
Okay.
And so when people were not prepared at all, I didn't prepare anybody. We went into the forest and that's it. And then what do we need? We need water to drink. That is very important, first thing. So we need to find water. No? And so on, we developed things which we really need, and also to do it in the right order. We search for the things which are more important and more essential. And what do we need for the night? We need protection. We need warmth. And so we do this and so on. Then after day, we got hungry, but we didn't have the strength anymore to find something to eat. No? So we shifted it to the next day, and we searched for food in the next day. And then so the things are shifting in the importance when once you have done something like this. And so when you now drink water, when I drink water now from the spring, we have our own spring here, and this is very nice water. And sometimes I remember this feeling. That is one of the most essential things we need, to drink water. And it's like breathing air nearly. And so maybe it is helping us to realize that sometimes when we drink water, that is, it's life for us. It's, I do also, which I wanted to do also on the workshop in Molise, where I couldn't go in the end, but I do an exercise. First I did it only for me, but then I shared it with other people to be water. And that is really fantastic. It is to become water ourselves, that we are really able to become water in our minds, in our body, and feel how the water is feeling, and do what the water is doing, and follow the water in its movements. And it's helping when you are sitting by a lake or by a little river or by the seaside. It's helping, but you can sit also somewhere else and on a rock or on your chair or somewhere. It is fantastic, and that was together with the water, the experience in the survival days coming to me. And that water is one of the most essential things for us.
It is, and I'm hoping to learn that technique at some point. There's two questions, and I'm wondering, just taking people into the forest for 3 days with one knife the first time and no knife the second time strikes me as a very reckless thing to do. A crazy. Reckless. You understand what I mean? Reckless, and also a very, very challenging thing to do. And yes, you survived it and helped people survive. You know, that thing about taking risk and facing up to challenge and pushing through it. How did the people cope?
Yeah, I think it is. Most of the people were really, really pleased with the experience. Nobody was completely angry or saying, "Oh no, that was complete bullshit" or whatever. Some had little doubts on certain things. They would have liked a little bit more to learn about what they could do, how they could do before. But I didn't do that on purpose. I wanted them to experience.
I've lost you, Markus. I don't know if you can hear me. I just hope he can come back. Can any of you hear Markus, or is it just me? If you could just let me know. Just if anyone in the post, if you could comment for me, I'd appreciate it. I hear, oh no. Jane, is that because you can't hear Markus, or can you hear me? I hear no. Markus is frozen. Can you hear me? No, he has stopped. Okay, I just hope Markus can come back to us. Okay, he's gone completely now. I'm just going to see if he can come back. He may have. Okay, I think we've lost him. So I just want to say, yeah, that's such a pity. Only Markus is gone. Okay, so I think maybe we're going to have to. I have no way. So I'm going to try contact him again. Let me just see if I can do this. Okay, it's okay. I'm going to do that again. All right. So just let me see if we can do this. Okay, he's just texting me. So okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't think so. I think we're going to have to call it an evening. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Markus. I found it very, very fascinating. And I thank you for your comments and for joining us. So some of you obviously are watching this live, and others will probably be watching a recording. So I look forward to seeing you next week with another Fireside Chat with another mystery guest, another member of the Order. So thank you so much for joining us and for being here. And I just say thank you for what a wonderful discussion this evening. It was lovely listening to Markus's story. And this is from Jane. Thank you for a wonderful chat, Eimear, and love, and thank you, Markus. Thanks for a lovely discussion. It just never ceases to amaze me how wonderful our members are, and listening to people's different perspectives. It never ceases to wow me. So somebody says, okay, hold on a second. Okay, someone says this has been happening on other live feeds today. So maybe whatever it is, the cyberspace isn't supporting us today. But I think we certainly got, he's back. He's back. Welcome back, Markus. I can see part of your face. Can you hear me? Hello? People...
I'm back, yes.
Back. I was just saying goodbye to everybody. Okay. People are saying that
sorry,
there were other difficulties with other live feeds today. So I've actually said goodbye to everybody, but Markus is a very spiritual person. We're back. Okay, so we can just we're still here, so there's still a few people left. Have you any regrets? You've frozen again, Markus. Okay, I think this is he's frozen again. I think maybe we'll are you back, Markus? You're frozen again. It's somebody says, where can I find out about Druidry? It sings to me, Barbara, www.druidry.org. Okay, listen, I think what we'll do is we'll end it for this evening, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for your patience with the technology. Anyway, slán go fóill, and what would I say? Sawan fi washa díobh go léir, agus bealtaine fi washa díobh go léir. So the blessings of Samhain to you in the Northern Hemisphere, and the blessings of bealtaine to those down under. So slán go fóill until next week. Bye-bye.